Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about 24 Legacy, Season 1, Episode 1. It's called 12 PM to 1 PM, and I remember from 24 that you never remember what the episodes were called because it's just all the times like that. They don't have titles in the traditional
Does that
sense.
not get confusing season to season? So, because then you have an episode. This is 12 to 1, right? And then
Yeah.
in season 2 of this, you'll also have an episode called 12 to 1.
Yeah, the way they typically did it was it would be, they wouldn't call it Season 1, it would be Day 1, 12 to 1.
Oh, I hate this.
And I guess this is Day 1 again, since we're kind of starting fresh.
I hate this so much.
But yeah, so this is episode 1. We'll start spoiler free, and then we'll give you warning before we get into spoilers because it is an episode 1. For some background of, like, I don't think you've seen any 24, is that right?
I've seen about 10 minutes.
Out of 9 seasons, that's shockingly
Staggeringly low, yeah.
Shockingly low. I have seen 6 seasons of 24.
I should also point out that 10 minutes wasn't in one sitting. That's approximately 10 minutes added up over probably out of 12 episodes or so.
Out of more than 10, so less than a minute per episode. Very good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I've seen 6 seasons. I binge watched through pretty much the first 6 seasons, between season 6 and season 7, with the kind of intention that I might watch season 7 as it went week to week. But then when I tried to,
Sick of it by the end of 6.
part of it was sick of it. Part of it was just that it started to decline in quality at that point. 6 was definitely the weakest season out of the first 6. And then, honestly, trying to watch it week to week was kind of weird after binging it. Because this is a show that actually works really well to binge, because it's kind of, the whole conceit, of course, is it's in real time, and it's 24 episodes, 24 hours of the day, so it actually binges really well, and it rolls through quite naturally. And I like the show. It's a really fun action show. It's kind of, I think having a appreciation of like 80s action stars kind of helps it a little bit. Obviously, it's a little bit more edgier than that, but it feels kind of in that vein. Jack Bauer's kind of your hero.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Action was typically pretty good. Plots were usually kind of over the top and overly twisty turny, but you liked the characters enough. It was fun, reasonably tense, and it was good popcorn TV, I'll say, is the way I put it. But I enjoyed it. It went obviously downhill before I quit, and I never went back and watched season 7 or 8 or the sort of the half season they did after that, the sort of event.
A couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, I think it was called Live Another Day.
Maybe.
I want to say, I don't know, I can't remember. But so this is the new 24. We've got a new lead character called Eric Carter, and he is completely new. The CTU still exists. That was the same sort of division that Jack Bauer worked for, not for the whole show, but for a lot of it. It was the main thing at the start.
Yeah.
And he was part of a team that did a mission for the CTU in the Middle East, and they're all back now, but the Middle Easterns want their strong box back. They're hunting them down. They're all in protective custody. Well, not witness protection. That's the phrase I'm looking for.
That's the one. Yeah.
They're all in witness protection. So they've all changed their names. They're all living around the country. But these people are finding them. They're killing them, and that's kind of the start of the episode. And that's how Eric's pulled back into this world. And that's how the day starts. Meanwhile, our other main characters, we have Rebecca, who is the head. She was the head of the CTU, but she's now giving it up because her husband's running for president. And she's like, you stood by me for a few years, I'm going to do it for you now. So she's given up her job. But of course, all this starts to go down, and it was based on her mission that they did previously. So she's pulled back in. We have a plot in a high school, which I won't really talk about much because I feel like that's mostly spoiler.
There's not much you can say about it without details,
Yeah. And then, of course, we have Eric's wife, who is with him at first, but she seems to go off on her own plot as the episode goes on. Again, kind of spoilers to talk about where she goes and whatnot. So, it's set up very much like a typical episode 24. I will admit, this is going to sound strange, but I kind of forgot the concept of the show when it started, and it said, the following takes place between 12 and 1 PM. Events occur. I was like, oh, yeah, this is what 24 is like. I forgot. Like, I just completely...
That's literally its entire thing.
I know, but it was, I don't know what it is, but it's just like I'd seen the trailers, I'd seen him like running from bad guys and shooting things, and I was just like, oh, it's going to be a typical action show. For some reason, just, even though I knew what 24 is, it didn't occur to me until it started. I'm like, oh yeah, it's in real time.
You moron.
I wasn't prepared for the real timeness of it when it started. So anyway, is it any good? Was it? I'm kind of 50-50.
I felt like it was fine.
There's stuff I like about it. There's stuff that I still think works from the old 24 show. Mainly the action.
Yeah.
And also the tension of, the goal, multi-screen, and there's tense stuff happening in both. Like, one affects the other. Like, if someone doesn't do this in time on this screen, then the person in this screen's dead, kind of thing, like that.
I saw that stuff in my 10 minutes of viewing.
Yeah, that stuff still works pretty well. I do think some of the writing's a little bit clunky, and I get why it's like this, but like the opening 5 minutes, it feels like there's so much exposition that's very unnaturally put into conversation.
Yeah, it's for people like me who didn't watch the original show.
I'm not even talking about stuff to do with the concept. I'm
just do with the mission and stuff.
I'm not actually thinking more of the husband and wife pregnancy kind of discussion. Like that.
Yeah.
That felt super. Since you got back, you've been different. I don't know if we were ready for that. It felt very heavy. Let's get all these details out there because we have to split them up fairly soon, and we have to get all the stakes and stuff in there. I will say this. Honestly, my biggest complaint, other than some cheesy things, and some of it's very predictable. Like, you could sort of see where some things were going very quickly. But it isn't necessarily a problem in a show like this because it is just meant to be a fun action show.
Yeah.
My biggest complaint, though, is, honestly, I don't know if I really want to watch a show where the bad guys are Middle Eastern terrorists in 2017.
Okay, I get where you're coming from. I mean, I don't think that bothered me that much.
It doesn't bother me as such. It was just kind of like, I don't know, this is supposed to be the fun, disposable entertainment. That's what 24 is. It's not super deep by any means.
It feels a bit too relevant, is that what you're saying?
A bit too relevant, and maybe even a bit insensitive in a weird way. Like,
see, interestingly, I thought this felt a bit been there, done that.
well, no, it does, and there was a time when they used to do this all the time. In fact, 24 itself had villains like this.
I'm sure it did
throughout, in several seasons. But I don't know. I just maybe it's just too topical right now. Maybe, but I was sort of thinking about I don't know. Could we not just had some cheesy Russian villain instead, just to make it a bit different, or not different, but more old school and less
more 80s is what you're getting at there.
More 80s. I don't know. It's too on the nose with what's going on in today's society and the sort of the fear mongering that's going on with certain stuff. I just feel like, do we really need a show where it's nothing but Middle Eastern terrorists that are villains?
I get that. Honestly, my bigger problem is that I thought pretty much every character was just bland.
Yeah, characters are kind of bland, I'll admit. Honestly, though, that was kind of a problem in 24 outside of a couple. Like, obviously, right. Kiefer Sutherland kind of carried the show. And there was a couple other who were fine, he liked them. This one kind of has this problem where I think most of the characters are pretty bland. Yeah, now I'm thinking about it. I
found it hard to even care about the lead. I thought he had no charisma. There was nothing that made me care about what he was doing.
Yeah, it felt very forced in that sense. I don't think he was terrible. I don't think he's a bad actor.
No, I think it's more in the script than his performance. It's just not there.
My biggest problem with his character, actually, though, was where he takes his wife. That whole his brother's sort of backstory. I just kind of felt like that. This is kind of like forced drama. You've essentially put in a love triangle for the sake of having a bit of tension, and I wasn't feeling that so much. I did think the action in the typical 24 style sequences of suspense still worked fairly well.
Yeah,
there's a reason why the show was successful in the first place, is this stuff kind of worked. But you obviously had that, and you had Kiefer Sutherland, who was legitimately carrying the show. Legitimately was making it very charismatic and kind of being the draw for the audience to latch on to someone. Because there was a point in 24 where you got to late on in the seasons where, and I won't spoil much, but I'll say that there was a point where they kind of killed off most of the characters other than him once we got to a certain point. And that was annoying, but at the same time it still kind of worked because he is the reason why we're here, and
that's kind of the problem with this show. There isn't anyone like that makes you go, oh yeah, if this action stuff wasn't fun and good, what would you be here for? Like none of the characters would. There would be no plot with any character at this point that I would be interested in seeing
No.
that's outside of the action stuff. It just wouldn't interest me because all of them are boring.
Yeah, no, I agree. The characters are an issue. I don't think any of them are exciting or interesting. And having actually watched 24, the fact that one's, in the first season, the one was running for president, and that was like the political character. Here they've kind of flipped it, where it's the husband of someone who's kind of running the CTU but isn't.
Mm.
And of course, it's episode 1, and we're already worried about moles. They've actually given us a plot where multiple people could be moles.
Yeah.
One of whom played Jay on season 2 of The Flash, which really made me laugh that he might be a villain. He might secretly be a villain. That really cracked me up.
There's just something there, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's bad though. I don't think if you enjoy 24, if you enjoyed this episode, I wouldn't say you're crazy. I think watch it, watch the next one, keep going with it.
It's certainly watchable, but it's for people like me who have no attachment to the show in general. I don't feel like there's any draw for me to come back.
I don't know if there's any draw for me to come back either. I feel like I've been here and done that. I would much rather go back and watch the last couple of Jack Bauer seasons, I think, than watch more of this. It's not that it was necessarily bad. We had there's one particularly ridiculous action scene towards the end. Whilst over the top, I did have kind of fun with it because it kind of mixed some actual tactics with, oh, this is going to be big and silly, and it was big and silly.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that. And maybe that's something that 24 could do with, is maybe stop trying to be edgy and kind of political and just have some fun with it sometimes.
Yeah, and I guess that's where your problem with the Middle Eastern terrorists comes in.
Yeah,
it's not fun, is it?
No,
it's not. You can't have fun with that right now. Maybe in 30 years, sure. Because,
hopefully.
well, I say that in the same way that we can have World War II things and have fun with that.
Yeah, you can have Inglourious Bastards where it's alternate.
There's going to be a point where you can have fun with this, but now is not that time. So maybe they should have done something else. Yeah.
Yeah, it's trying to hit on all these points, and it feels like it's out of place in this. What is fundamentally a very light show, really.
It is, yeah.
They might like to pretend it isn't, but it is. It's a light action show. And it should be kind of treated.
I mean, there's multiple action sequences in this first episode, and all of them are kind of fun.
Yeah, and you have to suspend your disbelief anyway with the premise. Like, you have to buy that all this took place in an hour, and I don't know if I really do. And
it's a very action-packed hour.
It's a very action, and they're all like that. I mean, there's never letting down. There's never just
there's never any let's go for a piss.
Yeah, there's never sitting on the toilet seat. There's never grabbing a bite to eat kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is actually funny. I actually would be very interested. I mean, obviously not with these characters because I don't like them that much. But if you had better characters, I would love an episode where it's just, it's dinner time. Let's have an hour where they're sitting at the dinner table, and it's a bottle episode where.
Yeah, even if for just half of it.
Yeah, I think that would actually be kind of a fun writing challenge for the writers if they did stuff like that. But
you have to have interesting characters to do that.
But that said, I don't necessarily say I want that. I'm fine with it being ridiculous how action packed the day is. One of my favourite lines of the original 24 is that the season finale of the first season, Jack Bauer just says, "It's been a really long day." And you know what? You're right, Jack. It's been a very long day.
No, I agree. I can appreciate being ridiculous. That's fine, because that leans into this just fun, over-the-top, silly action premise that we're talking about. And maybe they should just lean into that with the plot entirely.
Yeah. Instead, they're trying to hit all these things that feel very relevant, and as a result, it just makes me feel kind of, this isn't fun.
Yeah, it's like they're telling you, you want to have fun with this. We want you to have fun with this, because look at it, it's fun. And then they go, but we're going to make you think as well. It's like, pick one or the other.
I don't even know if it is going to try to make us think. I think it's more just, they're just telling us these are the bad guys, and that's it. Just
I'm assuming they're going to do something with it. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit.
No, I assume there'll be twists. There'll be people who we think are mole. Like I said, Jay from The Flash was the obvious mole at this point. There's no way he's actually the mole. It's too early. You don't tease him in episode 1 if he's the actual mole.
No, until he is the mole, even again.
In fact, the analyst who likes the Rebecca, he'll be the mole. I'm calling it now.
She's the mole.
No, it could be her. They've done equally ridiculous things in the past with that.
I'm just saying. They said there was like 3 people who it could be, or 4, and she was one of them.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil it, but there was a season of 24 where the mole was pretty high up on the chain. People have seen it will know exactly what I'm talking about. But there you go.
To be fair to this, by definition, all of them have to be fairly high on their respective chains to have access to the information.
Trust me, this was higher than you're thinking.
Right, okay. Oh, Jesus. Tell me it wasn't the president.
It may have been the president. Oh dear.
See, that sounds fun.
That was a fun season. I'm not gonna lie. That was because it was starting to run out of steam by that point, and then that season was super fun because it was so ridiculous. It was the president that was the bad guy.
That sounds fun. I'd be way more interested in watching that.
Which once again made Jack the ultimate underdog, where everyone's hunting him. Everyone's seen him as the villain in the show, but we know he's the hero, and it worked well. Let's do some spoilers. I want to talk about a couple of plot points that are in spoiler territory. So full spoilers from this point on for 24 Legacy Episode 1. I want to talk about the school plot.
Yeah, okay.
So Amira's this teenage girl who we see going to school, and then this friend who it plays it as if he's like this jealous boyfriend or something who's trying to like, I need to talk to you, we need to talk, and he grabs her arm, and he seems like the bad guy in the situation. And then a teacher pulls him in, and he's like, no, I've seen her talking to people. And my favourite line, and by favourite I mean the worst line of the dialogue of the episode, was when he's like, yeah, she's been talking to this guy, and it's all this terrorist stuff. All this terrorist stuff. That was a line of dialogue.
Yeah. And this is where I was talking about how it wants to make you think, because it's doing radicalization.
Yes, it is, yeah.
And it's completely juxtaposed with the funness of it.
Yeah, but then you get the because there's nothing fun about a kid who might shoot up a school or blow up a school. There's nothing fun about that.
It's just not.
And then you find out because obviously she's not white, right? It plays into the stereotypes and what you expect. But then it turns out that the white chemistry teacher is in on it, and he's working with her. And then we get what might be the most awkward and most uncomfortable kiss I've ever witnessed on camera. As this, I mean, I'm sure the actress is older, but she looks like a legit teenager, and she kisses this guy who's in his like 30s.
Yeah,
and it's really uncomfortable.
It is.
Even he looks uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He's like, this feels pedo. I don't like that. That's what he's thinking in that scene. So that's one of our main plots. Obviously, we have the mole in CTU that Rebecca's worried about, and she even tasers Not Jay.
Yeah.
In the neck. And that's fine. I actually I like the idea of this plot where she's not really in charge anymore, but she's trying to like secretly have control, but she can't let anyone know. That gives her a good bit of tension.
It does, but it's kind of all gone in this episode, isn't it? Because he knows now.
I don't know. Next episode, they're going to have him hidden in a closet while she's still doing stuff, and it's going to be another ticking time bomb.
Okay, yeah.
They're going to play this out for a few episodes. I know how this show works.
Okay, fair point.
And then you're going to have the new analyst girl walking around like, where's Boss Man? Where is he? I've not been able to see him. And she's going to get suspicious and so on.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. So we got that. We have the army buddy who has the actual. It turns out to the stuff they want back from them. They've got like a USB stick with a list of all the sleeper cells in the US.
I thought that was really unbelievable that he plugs the USB stick straight into his phone. Okay, fine, but it's not encrypted at all. Like it just opens. Do these people not encrypt their data?
Apparently not.
Not even a password. Nothing.
Also, how many? I mean, I assume some do, but how many phones actually have the full USB slot?
Not many.
Yeah, that's a little bit weird. I
question that when I said, "Oh, I'll let that go." That's because I just assumed, okay, it's a government issue, and they've purposely given him a phone like this for whatever reason.
And I'm sure they exist. I don't doubt that they can exist because it's not exactly that out there.
It's not rocket science.
It's just not common to see.
It's not.
Actually have like the slot for the USB stick.
Because it was definitely just a regular USB stick.
Yeah, it wasn't like a small, Super C or anything like that. It was regular one. I'm sure the creators didn't really want us to care about this.
No, but it just bothered me that it just opened straight up. No encryption, no password, nothing.
Oh no, I agree. It's weird how it does just open. Especially, like, I'd argue maybe that, well, it doesn't really matter because they're never expecting anyone else to have it, but then I'm like, well, why are they hiding it behind stuff? They've got a secret compartment in the box, but it's not encrypted, like...
That seems like your first step, doesn't it?
Yeah, so... Weird. Or maybe they're just really bad, and they don't have, like, a proper analyst or, like, techie person to, like, warn them of this stuff. They'll just hide it. That's all we need to do.
I mean... I'd appreciate that if it was like maybe easily crackable, but anyone can just put a password on a file. That's all they'd have to do. Like that's not a big ask, I don't think.
He's got a super phone. It hacks it for him. It
just does it.
Speaking of people from the Flash, Cisco made this. Cisco made this phone. They gave it to him. Just hacks it right away.
That's fair.
Oh dear. Yeah, so the wife drama with the brother just felt kind of forced in. So he takes his wife to his brother, who's like a gangster crime boss, kingpin
Kind of
guy.
feels a bit cliche though, doesn't he?
It's very cliche. And they were both in this life, but he took her from his brother. They used to date, and now he's with her. They wanted a normal life, and it looks like they were wanting to explore, like, you went to fight for your country, you were all honourable, but they've screwed you over, whereas I would have had your back, but now we hate each other because you left, blah, 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 blah. It does just feel a bit cliche. Then we have some drama, and we have his new girlfriend who seems jealous of what's going on. So, of course, the new girlfriend's going to leak the information to someone, even by accident, and it'll lead to her being in danger. So we'll have an action plot there with her and his brother defending her, kind of stuff.
Kind of obvious, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the obvious way that it's going to go. She feels very much like the Kim from the first season. That was Jack's daughter, who just kind of got in trouble. Like the first half of the season, she was just kind of in trouble constantly.
I get where that's going. I feel what you mean, like where it's like, okay, you need to be protected, and stuff's just going to happen to you. Which is why I like that they did set up she's somewhat capable at least.
Oh yeah, because she jumps down and she helps, and she's clearly not too experienced, but she's capable enough that she distracts them and pulls out the gun and shoots someone.
She made the right choice, which I thought was amusing. Then when they ran to get to the car, he just stood by her and opened the door for her, and then went round to his side. Wouldn't it have been quicker just to open your own doors?
Yeah. Also, his keys for the car were in the backpack that was in the safe.
I figured she just threw them in there.
Oh, maybe. Or maybe he's got a second set in there in case it's in a rush. Maybe I can buy that.
Yeah, like emergency set.
Yeah,
makes sense.
That makes some sense. Because at the time I just thought it was a bit weird. Like, why would the keys be in? Like, you never take this car out unless you're.
Yeah, maybe that's the backup car.
It was in the front of the driveway though. It was in front of the other car.
It was, yeah. Yeah, second set of keys is the obvious solution, I suppose.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's not that complicated, is it?
That's fine.
But I just thought it was really weird how they're literally running for their lives. It's like, okay, unlock the door, let's get in. But he stops and opens the door for her, lets her get in, and then shuts it for her, and then goes round to his side.
I mean, Chevrolet is cool and all, but
I mean, yeah, exactly. It's like, all right, I appreciate what you're doing.
Now's not the time.
It's nice, but maybe when you're not about to get shot at and you just want to get out of there.
Yeah. So, that's it. We had the big cylinder moment at the end that I mentioned, the fun action scene where Eric shoots down this big giant metal cylinder.
Yeah.
At a work site, and it rolls down the hill. Kind of
crushed.
But I like how he uses it. It's not just like he lets it roll so it crushes them. He actually goes
knows
down,
that they might dodge, so he goes and stays in close and
and uses it as cover. Like, I actually uses it tactically, and it was kind of a fun scene. So
it was.
I can't fault the action too much. The action's pretty well done, and it always was in 24. So it doesn't feel cheap. It feels like they've put some money into it, which is. It
does. It's just, my other big problem specific to this episode is that it doesn't really feel like a premiere. I mean, I know that's because there's the next one's on tomorrow, and I'm wondering if they're kind of treating it almost as a double. They
might be. Honestly, if you go back and watch the first episode of 24, though, I'm not sure if that feels any more.
I was just about to say this might be symptomatic of the real-time thing where it's always going to feel that way because it's naturally got to continue.
Yeah, because
it never gets a resolution.
Yeah, you never get like just a nice clean arc that ends in the first episode kind of thing.
So I was just about to say that, but again, having not watched that, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I always thought they missed a trick not doing a 24 movie, because obviously they don't make it 24, but the way I always thought you could do a 24 movie is you have like a Die Hard type scenario, right? Where you got bad guys in a place, and the situation in the first half an hour, say it's a 2.5 hour movie, right? First half an hour would not be real time. It would just be set up. It'd be like, all right, terrorists, bad guys, whatever, have taken over a building, whatever. Pick your thing, and you'd have them call in Jack Bauer, and he'd show up, and he'd be like, right, blah blah blah, set up, and then there'd be like the scene where like, okay, we're going to sneak in here because they have to sneak him in, obviously, because it's been occupied by bad guys. So they'd have him at the entrance where he's going to sneak in, and you'd have him sort of jump in. It'd cut to black, and then you'd have it say the following takes place between, midnight and 2 a.m.
You don't even need to do that. Instead of cut to black, what you do is they're planting a bomb, and it's got an actual countdown timer on it. And once they click that, and the countdown just stays in the corner at all times and just ticks down, so you can see it in real time.
You say that, but I like my thing where you think it's not in real time, but then there's that moment where he does the
Well, no,
classic
that's what I
speech.
mean. Yours still works up to the first half hour or so. Do whatever, and then as soon as they activate the bomb and it goes into the countdown timer, say for 2 hours, for whatever reason, because they've got stuff to do. As soon as that countdown comes on, it comes onto the screen and it just ticks down in real time.
Why wouldn't they just wait until they want to blow it up in 5 minutes and set a 5-minute counter? Why would they start it at 2 hours before it has to blow up?
That's their job to think of a reason for that, not mine.
I'm just saying, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Look, I'm just saying...
The point I was making, though...
Maybe they've got serious stuff... Maybe it's a nuke. Nukes take time.
The point I was making is that once it gets in the building, you treat it in real time in a sort of Die Hard-esque plot. Yeah. And he's creeping around the building in real time, kind of thing.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So...
Probably be cooler than this episode.
It would be. I didn't hate it. I thought it was perfectly fine. It's perfectly watchable. It's just...
That's the thing. It's like, if it was on, yeah, I could watch more of this. I just don't know if I care enough to actually go out of my way to watch more.
We have too much TV to watch to bother.
That's the thing.
To bother with stuff that we don't care about that much, and I feel like this is just kind of like, it's fine. I think some people will like it. Some people will think it's just a rehash. Some people will whatever. I wouldn't say it's particularly good, but it's not bad either. It's just kind of exists.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head right at the start, where it feels like, yeah, maybe a summer binge.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe if you watch it all in the space of a couple of days over the summer when nothing else is on. And
but then I'd also have to hear, was it good?
Did it get better? Yeah.
Was it satisfying as a whole? And if people said no, I'd just be like, yeah, fine, I'll just never watch it then.
Yeah, definitely.
But no, action's kind of good, and the 24 things that they've brought over still kind of work. The counter still feels important when it goes to the ad break, and it's doo 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 doo. I can't do all the sound effects. There's like 3 sound effects going on at the same time for the counter.
Yeah, you got the ticking as well.
Ticking, the thumping, and the beeping.
Yeah.
And that's just the exact stuff from the old show, from what I remember.
Just so that you can keep the name 24.
Pretty much.
You can change all the... That's the thing of it, though. You can change all the characters, but as long as you've got the core concept of it's real time, and you've got like those...
The star of the show was never Sutherland, it was the clock. The clock is the star of the show. I'm joking, of course, but that's 24 Legacy. It's inoffensive, except for the fact that it's kind of insensitive to modern stuff. But it's inoffensive, I just mean in terms of quality. It's inoffensive in that sense. It's not bad. It's just
this better stuff you could be watching.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So there you go. I think there'll be a following for it, but I don't know if it'll maybe be very lukewarm compared to anything else, and I don't know if it'll actually continue. But then again, there's a lot of stuff that we think's really generic that does really well.
It's in this weird place, isn't it, where is it generic enough? It's so generic that will it bring in new people, like people like me? Is it enough to make those care? And then the people who are the big 24 fans, you've got the uphill battle of you got rid of your characters, and do they care about these instead? And I don't know. I think going against the two audiences might be too much for the show to handle.
Possibly. But then who's to say?
MacGyver's still on, isn't it?
MacGyver's still on. If there's any reason to think that sometimes the audience like crap, and this is better than MacGyver. I'm not saying this is...
that's just my go-to example.
Yeah, that's just my example of people watch crap. This isn't crap per se. It's just not great either. It's just, I think we've summed it up. So there you go. That's 24 Legacy. Let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out a lot. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz. Get our individual Twitters on the screen. But keep watching TV. We will be back. Fox have got another pilot tomorrow, actually.
Yeah, they have.
They have APB coming up, so we're going to be checking that out too. I don't think we'll like it because it's just a cop show, but you never know. We may be surprised. Ernie Hudson's in it. That's cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So, there you go. Bustin makes him feel good. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.